Sure. My name is Bruce Campbell. I'm with the Campbell Law Group. I'm a corporate and securities lawyer focused on impact investing and the representation of social enterprises. I've been a corporate lawyer for 15 years, and I've been focused in this particular area about 3.5. It was really sort of a transformation in how I wanted to have my work life be. It was going from a place of work to pay the bills, to make a living, to really work as a place of meaning and of service. So, and looking around in terms of how I could be of most service as a professional, I saw that using the skills I had learned in kind of traditional corporate practice and applying those in the area of impact investing and with social enterprises. I will say, so Simon is one of the principals of a client called Who Gives a Crap. I will say it was one of my kind of greatest moments as a lawyer when I formed a Delaware corporation called Who Gives a Crap Inc. And it was great to get Simon off the toilet. I mean, Simon raised $50,000 in I think 40 hours to help finance a company which is a company that sells renewable toilet paper, and 50% of the profits go to finance sanitation projects in developing countries. I think it's going well. He had an amazing response to his kind of crowdfunding or Indigo campaign, and they ended up raising more than the $50,000. So they have a number of pre-orders and corporate commercial pre-orders for their product. So I look forward to seeing them launch pretty soon here now.
Great.
Yeah. You have a client called Eyes, and right now the principal entrepreneur there is an Echo and Green Fellow, so she's participating in that program. And that's really been a wonderful story. I mean, Zubaida, who is the principal founder, is a mother, I think 2 or maybe 3 now, and she's originally from India, but she's living here with her husband. And at the same time, she's kind of a mother and raising these kids. She's got this startup, and has been recognized by Echo and Green. She also got an MBA from CSU in their sustainable and social enterprise program. And she's, it's amazing how many women die every year in developing countries because they can't have a sanitary birth. And so she's providing a very cost-effective method for them to have a birth at home when they can't reach a clinic and do that safely. I connected with her through the MBA program at CSU. So I try to, each year when they bring in a new class of students, I try to get to the program and meet the students and learn about what they're doing, and have helped a few of them now with their businesses. Well, we work with a number of sort of accelerator or incubator type of organizations. The Unreasonable Institute, for example, is an example of a business incubator we work with that is focused on working with social enterprises. We have also worked with a social impact incubator in Dasra, called Dasra in India, and also Hub Ventures in San Francisco, which has its sort of like a Techstars approach, but for socially oriented companies. So that's one way we like working with these accelerators or incubators. One, because it gives us an opportunity to support new entrepreneurs, and frankly, it's also a way for us to discover really kind of the best of the best, or the entrepreneurs that are most likely to build their ventures into something that's meaningful. So the environment here, it's really on fire right now. It's probably about 4 years ago, a group of us came back from SOCAP. SOCAP's a large conference that happens every year in the Bay Area, and we came back from SOCAP and they said we need to find a way to convene people in Boulder who are interested in impact investing in social enterprise, and so we started gathering together as a community and getting to know each other better. And now where we are now, fast forward to where we are now, we're launching a hub here pretty soon, which will be a physical place for us to come together as a community. It'll also be a co-working space, so entrepreneurs can have offices there, or can use just desk space if they're not yet able to afford an office. And we have 10,000 square feet in downtown Boulder, and the demand has been incredible. And I think on the investor side, one thing we wanted to do is Boulder has a long history of innovation and investment in tech startups, and we wanted to see could we start to educate investors here about the opportunities in so-called impact investing. And so it was really, for us, really rewarding to see at the Unreasonable Institute has what they call an investor days, where they bring investors in to meet the fellows. And there were probably 20 to 30 local investors that were there that had pledged to invest in these enterprises. So yeah, so there's really an amazing amount of activity right now, especially considering the size of Boulder. I think it turned out really well. I mean, the Unreasonable Institute really experimented with a new format. And traditionally, a lot of these incubator type programs will have what they call a demo days or a pitch event where the entrepreneurs will make their presentation, and then it's really the only opportunity to follow up with investors afterwards is very ad hoc. It's exchanging business cards in the lobby or something. And so what we did with this investor days was really to provide a mechanism for the entrepreneurs to sit down in conversation with the investors after the pitches and do that in a group session. So you were able to have a group of investors who were interested in a business and to sit down and ask more questions. And ultimately, by the end of the program, have investors get together and sort of organize themselves by the ventures they were interested in, and then talk about next steps and how they could coordinate as a group to make a collective investment. So I think it'll end up shortcutting the timeline for making an investment dramatically. I think it's been around. I think investors they will often try to find co-investors on a deal, but I think the idea of providing some structure or some support to facilitate that process is relatively new. And I think in this space in particular, where there are a lot of investors who are new to this kind of investing, and so there's a lot that can be gained by having peer support and by collaborating on the diligence process or on the kind of deal-making process. So I think Unreasonable Institute has found that they found that they'll probably shorten the process dramatically on the investment cycle, and I think there are other groups doing this as well. For example, there's an organization called Tonic, which is a worldwide network of angel investing groups focused on impact investing. And so the same idea is in there, it's bring people together in a peer group once a month to look at deals, and so the opportunity to talk about it with your peers and again find ways to collaborate and to shorten the process and hopefully to drive more money to the enterprises. Yeah. It's a good question. There are a lot of, I think, different definitions of impact investing. For me, it's really about the motivation or the intent behind the investment, and is the motivation or the intent to maximize your return, or is it to seek to have some beneficial outcome with your investment dollars? And I think within what people are calling impact, I think probably what's most meaningful to me, or what I get most excited about, are investors who are seeking out enterprises where it doesn't have a promise of a big return necessarily. They're not going to be double-digit returns, but the investor is likely they see it's a viable business, they see it's a sustainable business, and they see there's an opportunity for some return, but they're supporting it mostly because of the impact that it's generating, and that's what inspires me the most, because it's seeing companies get funded that probably wouldn't otherwise get funded. And it's also seeing this, I think, for me also within that kind of impact investing, there's the transformative effect that happens to people. And it's for example, in the angel context, and I see this a lot in the angel context and international impact investing, I see how investors are transformed by making an investment and supporting an enterprise, and then going out in the field and also seeing how that business is growing and seeing the actual human impact that it's having. And then on the human side, from the enterprise standpoint, it's seeing the empowerment that can happen, and the confidence that is built by an entrepreneur let's say in a developing country, who's been able to raise money from Western investors and then start to build a company. And I think a perfect example would be an Unreasonable fellow from this last summer who grew up in the slums in Kenya. So obviously came from a very challenging background, And she now has developed this company where she has more orders than she can fill, and comes to Boulder and is surrounded by these investors that want to support her in what she's doing. And you can just really see how it lights her up to see this kind of support and confidence in what she's doing. So, saying yes, well, I think I was grateful that you asked me to participate in this documentary. And why I think it's important is the traditional media. We see so much about what's not working in the world and the problems in the world. And the fact is, there's a lot that is working, and there are solutions out there, and people can get involved in them. And so it's important for people to learn about the opportunities to use their talents and their skills in a way that they can be part of the solution.
Great. Close this out.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Great.
Sure, Bruce Campbell with Campbell Law Group. Actually, I'm also director and founder of the Hub Boulder. And what else was it?
What you do.
Oh, what do you do? Okay, yeah. So Bruce Campbell, Campbell Law Group, and I'm a corporate and securities lawyer focused on representing impact investors and social enterprises.